So in this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to make a viewport and how to put your title block into your viewport and your assignments and then get set up for dimensioning. So right now you should have all of your drawings 1 to 6 done, and you should have them in the appropriate layers. Some of you may have actually moved ahead and started doing your drawings 13 and 14, and that's fine. They can all be in the same page, no big deal. Just try to space them out a bit so that you're not all kind of in the same screen clustered together. So to get started, first thing you need to kind of like recognize is these tabs at the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to minimize this so you can see. Down here we have Model, Layout 1, and Layout 2. This is kind of where we're going to get started and the magic is going to happen. We can get rid of Layout 2. It doesn't matter. We're going to delete it. Delete. Layout 1 matters. So first thing that we're going to do with Layout 1 is we're going to rename it. So we right-click Layout 1, and we're going to rename it to Drawing 1, DWG1. The next thing that we're going to do, which is something that doesn't tell you in the drafting booklet, so I want to make sure that you pay attention to this part, is you want to right-click your Drawing 1 tab, and you want to go into Page Setup Manager. And then you're going to select the tab that you're on, which is Drawing 1, and Modify. This is really important. So your computer is defaulted to print things to the CAD Lab printer, which is great if you're printing things on paper. We are not. We're handing in things online using a PDF method. So we need to change that, because otherwise your assignment, when you go to save it as a PDF, it's going to cut off parts of your assignment. So rather than using the FRSH CAD Lab printer, we're actually going to change it down here to DWG to PDF.PC3. So again, we're recording this. You can go back and watch the video if you need to. And the next thing we need to do is check the paper size. This one here has 8.5 by 11 with nice kind of like even margins all the way around. So I think that's okay. It's ANSI Expand A, 8.5 by 11. You want to check the preview to make sure you don't have like weird spacing on the outside of the page. This looks okay right now though. The units are okay. Sometimes if you're in a metric file, it'll override and do like an inches conversion here. So if you were in a millimeter file, you want to make sure this was millimeters. But we're in inches, so that's like totally okay. So this is set now to be a PDF option. This is really important. You always have to start with this. What happens if you don't start with this and you do all of the next steps and come back and do this after? So you're going to have to go and redo all of those steps anyway. So really important that you start with this and then okay. Close. So now our page size is set. What you'll see here is you'll see kind of a preview of your drawings. We don't want to look at that. We actually want to delete that and get rid of it. So we're going to single select, and then on my keyboard I'm just using the delete button. It's gone. So now we have this really nice blank piece of paper, and it's got like some little borders around the outside. So lovely. We're going to draw a border. Here's kind of like your cheat option. You're going to go into your layers, into your border layer. And then in your draw toolbar, you're going to draw a rectangle. You're going to zoom into this little dotted line, and I want you to try to draw a rectangle like right on top of the dotted line. Maybe something like this. Oh, nope, I can't zoom in enough. Try again. There we go. So just like that. So I've got a rectangle. Now you're not done. So what this is a rectangle on the outermost printable area of your page. So you're actually not going to see your border in this case. So what we need to do is we need to go to our Modify toolbar and use Offset. And we're going to offset a distance of a ½ inch, right? So that's 0.5. Enter. And I'm going to click the rectangle and then offset in ½ of an inch. So I've made a ½ inch space all the way around. Now there's some really fancy ways that you can do this by typing in coordinates, but it takes a really long time, and we're lazy / efficient, so we don't want to do that. So we're going to erase our original border, and now we've got our secondary border, and it's moved in ½ an inch all the way around. Perfect. The next thing you're going to do is insert your pièce de résistance, your title block, that thing that you've been working on. So to do that, it's really quite simple. You go to Insert and Insert. And then you want to find your title block. Now what's really important here is that you select the block one, not the title block Autocad file. And this is where people often make mistakes. So I'm going to look for the one that I blocked. If I remember correctly, I think I called it something like October 2017 something something. So if I go into drafting and I go into my title block folder, I should have something called like October something, October 2017 block. Awesome. So I'm going to go open. That's the one that I want to insert. Okay. And then now it should be connected to my cursor in its bottom right corner. And then I just zoom in down here and click. And now it's going to ask me to prompt and like fill in the rest of the title block. So my teacher's Mrs. D, scale sure. What's the title of this drawing? This title is going to be drawing 1. And then OK. Now please keep in mind that my title block is not complete. I didn't finish the other @defs in my demo, so you make sure that you have those finished. Also, what do you notice about the layer? Can somebody kind of attest to that? Did something weird happen with my title block when I inserted it? It changed color. So in my original title block, I drew it in yellow, and now when I import it over here, it turned blue. Well, it did that because in my layers, I set my text layer to be blue. I did that for a reason, because when you actually go to plot blue, you can see a lot better. So I'll show you what happens when we change it. We change it to yellow. So we go to text and we change this to yellow. It's really hard to see against the white background. So when you go to plot it, it's really, really hard for me to see it when you hand it in. However, really easy to see against a black background when you're drawing. Blue is really hard to see against a black background. So it's totally okay once you get to the point that you're doing your viewport and stuff to change your layer color to blue. Totally okay, because then you'll be able to see. Just a dark color is nice because then you can see what's up. So now we have our paper, we have our border set up on the page, and we have our title block. So now what we want to do is we want to bring these drawings over. And when we do that by creating a viewport. So to create a viewport, you just type in viewport. V-P-O-R-T. But before that, I want to move myself into the viewport layer that I made. So I'm in the viewport layer, and then I'm going to type in viewport, enter, and then this time I want to make a single viewport. In the future, you might make different kinds of viewports, but for your first assignments, you're going to make a single viewport, okay? And then you're going to click in your top left corner of your border, and then the top right corner of your title block. You don't want to go all the way down here. You want to just go to the top right corner of your title block and click. And then what that does is it slices a portal into your page. So I'm going to use some kind of like sci-fi terminology here. But what it's doing is it's slicing a portal so that you can actively view the stuff in your model space. So if you were to make a change in your model space, like if I was to delete this line from here and go over to my paper space, you'd see that that line's now deleted. So you're actively kind of two places at once, which is important, so that you don't have to redraw everything. We're not copying and pasting it. We're like live in the viewport. So here's where we're going to do a bit of a paper space model space. So when you're looking at your paper, you're in something called paper space. However, when you double click into your viewport, you're now live in your model space and you can make live changes to your assignment. So it's important that you recognize that there's a difference between paper space and model space. It's important that you're aware where you are at all times when you're doing the assignment so that you're doing it properly. So first thing I'm going to do is this grid is really annoying, so I'm going to turn it off so I can see better. If your toolbar doesn't give you the option to turn the grid off, it's really easy. You just type in grid, enter, off, enter, and the grid turns off. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to assign the scale. So like I've told you already, for these assignments 1 to 6, a really good scale is 1 to 3. To do that, my bottom toolbar, there's this like funny garbly text here, and this is our scale. We select, and you're going to select 1 to 3 as a scale. Fun fact, 1 to 3 doesn't show up. You have to actually add it. So to do that, you go to Custom, Add, and then you want the scale to be 1:3. So that's 1 paper unit to 3 drawing units, and then you go OK. I already have it, so I don't have to, so then I would just pick 1 to 3 and OK. So when I double click in here, I'm in my viewport, and I scroll up to the 1 to 3 scale, it's automatically going to like grow my assignment to be 1 to 3. So you can see it here. Now what I want to do is I want to use the pan function, or if this toolbar doesn't show up, you hold down the rolly wheel. You click the rolly wheel, and you can move your assignment around. So what you want to do is you want to move it so that it's got like a nice spacing all the way around. And when you're done that, you've got it to 1 to 3, and you're done that, you're going to double click out of your viewport. So I'll show you what happens. If you don't double click out and you zoom or anything, it ruins your scale and it ruins everything that you've just done. So to correct that, I'm going to go back to my scale 1 to 3. I'm going to pan my assignment kind of where I want it to be, and then I'm going to double click out. Now when I zoom, I'm zooming my paper. I'm not zooming my model space. So I've got my front view, my top view, my right side view. It all looks really good. At this point, you're basically done your viewport and you're ready for dimensioning. But what you need to know is kind of how to move forward. So what I would do if I was you, first thing is you're going to go into your layers and you're going to take your viewport layer and you're going to turn the little light bulb off. Because you don't need to see it. It's kind of an invisible property. So when you turn the light bulb off, that line disappears now, and all you can see is this really nice clear border. You don't see a line across the bottom. You don't see any of that mess. It's just nice and clean. And the next thing you're going to do, once it's perfect, is you're going to copy that layout. So you're going to right-click your Drawing 1 layout and go Move or Copy. And then I want Drawing 1, I want to make a copy, and then OK. And then I'm going to rename that one Drawing 2. So rename DWG2. And then what's cool about that is Drawing 2, everything's done for you already. All you have to do is double click in the window and pan over. I don't know, is this Drawing 2? I don't know. Let's say this is Drawing 2. You just pan over to Drawing 2. Your scale is 1 to 3. You haven't done anything. Double click out. Done. Now you just copy it again and pan over to Drawing 3, pan over to Drawing 4. That's why it's important that you take the time to really make sure your viewport is excellent on your first one and there's no errors before you move forward. If you get to this point and your scaling is weird or your lines aren't showing up or whatever, let me know and I'll help you. At this moment in time, are there any questions about doing viewports? If not, this is the end of the viewport demo.